What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Oh, look, we got some crowd tonight. They want to hear a wrap-up of High Stakes Advising 2021. This might be the biggest crowd we had in a little while at the beginning of the show, Craig. I think people
are right?
Hear what we had to say there. Can you hear me good here? Is this mic on here?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, good. Let me turn up the volume here. What a show. I'm not bragging, but that was a pretty good event, Craig. What do you say?
Yeah, pretty sure that in anybody's career, that is the most value ever received.
I think one guy said I've been going to conferences for 28 years. I've never seen anything like this. By far the best. Look, guys.
So what happens when you talk to people who actually do this for a living?
We told you we were going to do it big. We told you we weren't going to let people down. You're coming to our event here, and let's see. I mean, $200,000 ticket speakers. Craig Lack, Lee Lewis, who runs a small association, of employers. He had this other Lack. I forget his name, but geez, I mean, what's he making? $10 million this year. Joe Manicotti was there.
Joe Manicotti was the bomb.
I don't know. Who else do we have? Shit, so many good people here. Yeah, and we had some panels. We had some good advisors. A lot of good talk here. If you're watching, you would put something in the comments here. Show your name. Bill Schmaltz, you have a recording to sell? No, we are not selling a recording. You got to get your ass there if you want to see the value in the event. Not happening. No cheap advice, as Craig would say. So, yeah, I mean, I'm in recovery still from the event. It was 3 long days. We're on the boats. Mike Lutz, Mikey Boy was there. Glad you came out. John and Lauren Millen Group. Yeah, it was a great time. So let's go into it. Let's cover some things.
Share some love. Make some comments. Yeah, who do you want to talk about first, man?
Huh. Saying double sound. How's the sound? Are you guys getting any challenge with the sound? Paul Carroll said, best event I ever attended. Mr. Vegas. Paul, does that include every event you went to in Las Vegas, including some of the action they have out there? Let's see. We got Colton Winter's coming. Every that went to event is ready. Absolutely. Brad McFarland, Sean O'Connor, I love Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, look, we tried to give you guys the best we had. We take, just so you know, we take all the ticket money, we take all the sponsor money, plus our money, and we try to get the best speakers, put on the best event for you guys here. So we're glad you had fun. Let's cover, for those that weren't there, we're not giving you inside info, right? But we'll cover some of the things because we'll give you a taste. You're watching the show here. Let's talk about Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. Very exciting for me. Those that don't know, I'll tell the quick story. It was failing year 1. Wall Street. My employee inside the office was Wall Street, Marty the Machine. Shout out to him if he's listening. Said, you got to listen to this guy. He's got a company called Stratton Oakmont. Those were all looking at me day one, Craig, like, oh, what is John wearing?
What are you wearing that shirt for?
He's a T-shirt on. What's he doing? He's hosting. Stratton Oakmont, go online. It's Jordan Belfort. Before the movie, studies his stuff, turned my whole career around. So it was an honor to have him there. Some people may have some negativity about him, but I think he always covers it in his event.
John doubled his sales. He went from 0 to 1.
Yeah, year 1 was pretty bad. I remember when I told him on the webinar, and he just shakes his head. He's like, I hear these stories all the time, and it was having proper sales training. So let's talk about it for a second. Proper sales training. Some of the younger guys came up to me and said, what should I be doing? What do you think? And I said, look, you've got partners that have product knowledge and solutions. You need to have you ever had real sales training? It's okay to learn from another guy and follow him and listen to what he means, but you got to, develop your own style, listen to a couple styles, develop your own, but have a structure. When you're newer and you're not in a, the one thing the bigger companies do for salespeople, and you can agree, is they provide structure in sales typically, right? The bigger organizations bring the sales training in-house for them, like we kind of do the conference for independents. And so I said, get some sales training. Now, I am not going to pitch here, but I'm going to give you something that I think it's JB Online.
Yeah, give me the business, man.
Yeah, look.
Jordan
Belfort
Online.
JB.online,
wasn't it?
Coupon code Virtue Health. We make zero money off of this, so you know. Coupon code Virtue Health. Program for straight line selling is $4,000 down, 70% off. I think it's, what's that, 1,200?
Yep.
$1,200, $4,000 program. Changed my career around. We get
zero
zero money from it, so you know, zero. And if you buy it and you hate it, I'll buy it from you. Okay, how's that for being confident in the program? Because I told everybody there, look, they're like, what's next? What do we do? It's like he covered so much because I know the program. He covered exactly what I asked him to. I mean, he must have. I'm not gonna say he practiced it, but he covered it perfectly. And it is for the first meeting, guys. That's the opening meeting, and some of the things he talked about is the 310s. Let's cover it for a second, a little bit. Pick up the book, I think it's The Way of the Wolf, the new one.
Yeah.
No, right?
Yeah.
I think I don't have it. We gave them all away. I think we ran out.
I'll show you one.
But the first couple of chapters that covered, if you don't want to buy the program, I still think you're nuts because it's ongoing video training. The Way of the Wolf. The first 4 or 5 chapters is strictly Kate read it. Shout out to Kate for helping us with the event. He talks about this. I mean, it's guys, it's pure gold. I don't know what your selling style is, but the psychology, right? What do we do, Craig? With these events, we don't want to teach product. We want to teach human behavioral psychology and selling. And he's figured it out. He's trained hundreds of people. And what he talked about is, using tonality, looping, the straight line, and all the ideas he did. And he was a born closer, and he was closing 50%. His other partner was closing 30%. But then he had all these knuckleheads, picked up off the street, and they were closing at 0, and he didn't understand how easy it was. And the first thing he said, they figure it out, and they're banging them head across the thing, is objections and this and that. And he found out what it was, is that the first 4 seconds, and he said he said it's 6. He's like, I'm close. First 4 seconds, you have to get across to the prospect 3 things. And I know them, right? Because it's in my head. You're enthusiastic in hell. You're a force to be reckoned with. You're an expert, right? You're sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
Enthusiastic as hell, and not bottled enthusiasm. I like to call it being passionate, how I am with hands and stuff, especially when you're called. Sharp as a tack, enthusiastic hell, and a force to be reckoned with, meaning an expert. They couldn't get that across to the prospect in the first 3 seconds, and they're already shut off. You're a loser. You suck. I can hear it in your voice. Any of you guys doing cold calling or talking to people, stand up. I'm not standing today because I'm not using my system, and I still can do it because that's just, I move my hands a lot in New York. He had, did we count the F-bombs? Was it 50 or
37?
37.
Only
F-bombs.
37. Not bad.
So can I curse here? Well, and I didn't really curse that much. So I was proud of myself. But first 4 seconds, guys, on that call, whether it be a meeting, think of your Zooms. When you get on the call and it's your chance to speak, you got 4 seconds for them to determine and come up with their opinion of who you are. Are you legit or you're not? So think about, Craig talked about is the marketing, right? Before they even come, do they think you're an expert? They know you're an expert. What can you do? You can send a shock and all package. You can send them an email and info on you. Or they're going to look you up if they got half a brain. And so when they look up your stuff, are you a force to be reckoned with? Are you an expert? I'm not going to bring my site up. Screw it. And so that was our first 4 seconds. Then the 310s, product, you, and your company. So what he said is look, you've got to get them in the 310s, right? He's talking about tipping the scale.
Yeah, his straight line was 0 on one end and 10 on the other. And when you show up, depending on where you're referred, is it a cold call? You're going to be somewhere along that scale. And so as you're making your conversation, your presentation, your pitch, you're constantly moving along that line. And if they stumble or you stumble and you go back, then he calls it a loop, and then there's a progression to get you back. And the ultimate idea is, you get the people to the 10.
Yeah, the goal is why don't they buy, right? First of all, buyers buy on emotion, not logic. They buy with emotion, they justify on logic. And as advisors, we always go in with the numbers and the savings, and we're not hitting the side that people buy with. And we go, I don't understand. I was going to save $1 million, and I'll get you're justifying it. You're selling on logic, and you're not finding emotion. That's why we always say, find the pain, push on the pain, sell around the pain.
How many dozens of times have I said, don't sound like everybody else, so we can save you 20 to 30%, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the logic side. And how many times have we all in our careers had the conversation, amongst our peers, our pals, our coworkers, and gone, I don't understand. We had $500,000 in savings. It was a no-brainer, and they didn't do anything. It's because you left out all of the important stuff in the sale.
And then he goes, that's the 310s, right? So what happens is he talked about it was, I got to get them to a 310s. I got to get them to a 10 from a scale of 1 to 10 on me, that they're comfortable and they trust me. Comfortable and trust my product. They love my product. They're excited. And my company, right? Because, he said, look, they may love my product, but hate, not like me, right? What was the example he used? Like Apple. I forget what the other example he used, but it was pretty good. But the goal is, guys, right? So you're selling a product, you're transitioning maybe to self-funding, you got to get into a 10. I always say, use a national network year 1 to get credibility and get more comfortable. You have to be the expert. If you're competing against the big box chain store, well, they have the brand in the company. And so you have to bring the same more and get them there as to why they should do business on those 3 levels. And if any of them are not at a 10 or close to a 10, you're not going to make the sale because you missed something there. It's not just the product and the savings. The other thing he talked about was, preconceived notions, which I think is great. It's like, where are they on the scale of 1 to 10? They had a 1, they had a 10. Everybody raised their hand. I don't know. He's like, you don't know. That's the problem.
No, he asked everybody, and people were like 3, 5, 6. He's like, no, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. It's a trick question because we don't know where they're going to be. And if he knew how they viewed brokers and you come in as a broker, well, they already know. They already had a preconceived notion about who we are and what we're going to come in and talk about. And so it's going to be low. Looping. So you got to, if you can't get him at 10, the end, you got to loop back. And again, first 4 seconds, tonality, 310s. Let's go on to the next one. Who we got next?
My man, Oren.
All right. I'm going to go pop my air down a little bit, but go ahead. Oren Klaff, you jumping into the superstar already?
Well, you tell me, man.
Do it. Go.
Huh? Oren Klaff, the bomb. My personal coach. Multiple times in 4 years. Best-selling author, Pitch Anything. Great book. Both of his books are fantastic. But, he talked about, all sorts of things. I see one of the notes here. The crocodile brain. Yeah. Years ago, I think it was 11 years ago, he paid for this study to be done by human behavioral scientists. And so they gave him this whole philosophy of how everything moves to the old ancient crocodile brain up to the midbrain into the cerebellum, whatever it was, right? And so you got to attract people the right way. And he had this great example. I loved the slide, right? So he starts to slide out with a woman laying in bed, and that's all you see. The rest of the screen's blank. And then he moves it over, and then it's a woman laying in bed next to a guy. And it's like, okay, maybe they're married, maybe they're dating. And then he moves it over a little more, and you can see that they're laying on the bed, and then there's a little like a wall, and there's somebody coming into the room, another man. And it's like, ooh, the drama's building, right? The tension's building. We don't know what's going to happen. Holy crap.
Intrigue.
The intrigue. He's building the intrigue. And then he moves it over a little more. And you see on the wall next to where the guy is walking into the room, swords, spears, knives. And you're going, oh man, this is not going to end well. And he's like, this is my story on how you build a presentation. I love that.
Yeah. So what he's saying is there's a setup, an intrigue, and then a reveal. Most people come to the reveal and, hey, here's the end of it. Here's what I'm showing, right?
I've got an HSA for you. What you need is a high deductible. Yeah.
depending on where you are and what meeting it is. Now, Oren's talking about he's raising money, and I think in meeting 2 a lot applies to meeting 2 in the presentation and the real reveal of that. But it's a good way to understand of how to intrigue the buyer a little bit more, depending on where they are in the buying process, right? Everybody's in different buying processes and stuff, but let's just look at this from a core of the old way. Ice cold prospects, we're cold calling, we're going in. It's the toughest way to go in, and that's what most of us build our block on, and are used to. Everything else is shit a lot easier. But
yeah, Jordan, remember Jordan? He was like, "It's not an interrogation. How many employees do you have? How many are on the medical? What kind of medical plan do you have? He's like, you can't do that." And Oren's whole philosophy is, look, it's like the old saying, premature evaluation prevents conception. Think about that. So when you go in, you have the meeting and you want to show them how smart you are, and you jump right to the reveal. It's the reason that 8 or 9 out of 10 meetings end up in no change, because you didn't set up any tension. You didn't set up any intrigue.
Pain. You didn't take
no pain, no emotion from the buyer to share with you.
The setup is when I have it in some of my decks, I got 4 or 5 different decks, and I'm always changing. I'm always working on ours. Like the change, like big COVID ball comes in. Our world has now changed. Everything we do is different, right? What are the effects of it? We've got massive super utilizers, the pharmacy side, the vertical integration of the market consolidation of everybody owning everybody. Okay. All of that stuff is now the biggest threat to you as an employer. And so you've got to have some change. Like you talked about, I got this boring company. How the fuck am I going to talk about the world is changing? Well, COVID gave us the best opportunity to create massive disruption and urgency and change, kind of like the Affordable Care Act did. And, talk about that, figure out whatever that is. And then he talks about the, the threats of, like the show, BlackBerry, Blockbuster, Sears. What happened to all these guys, major players? They didn't change. They made no change. The wave was coming. They saw it coming and they said, nope, we're not going to change. We're Sears. We're BlackBerry. We own the market. Nothing's going to change. And now where are they? They're gone. And so you're creating the setup, the intrigue, the pain. If you don't make a change, here's what could happen. And then reveal. We have the solution. We've done it 1,000 times. Read Pitch Anything. It's phenomenal. I just saw somebody wrote here, just picked up Straight Line today. If you're commenting from Facebook, I can't see your name unless you grant access. So freaking Facebook won't let us see anybody. So put who it is when you're writing the comment there.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for being smart. Top tier, winter is coming. Read some more of the comments. Great meeting, loaded for beer. Colton over there. Colton Skip, great time. Paul Carroll. I see Bill Hughes. I know he was in the live stream. There we go. Crocodile Brain. Great fucking job, guys. Yeah, little F-bombs in there. There we go. Neediest kills deals. Let's talk about it. Don't be a needy broker. Craig, that's your topic.
Yeah, I love that one. Right. Go, I mean, it's just the way I could do an hour on that. Right. Well, this has been a really interesting conversation. I'm going to need some testimonials. Can you send me a deck and then we'll review it and we'll get back to you. Oh, gee, it was great. It was really, really interesting. I mean, that's probably the most interesting conversation I've had. Can you go fetch me that blue rock? And then you go do it, and you yes, look, we got you what you need, because we're a service oriented. The client's always right. Okay, can you go get me a red rock now? Right? All of these various things that prospects do to delay.
Not a blue rock. I need a red rock. Go get me a red rock.
Yeah. And you're just so willing to jump through hoops and do whatever they say because you don't realize they're better salespeople than you are.
Thank you.
They don't even know it.
Beginning the meeting. Hey, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming to this meeting and giving us an opportunity. And we all do that. Until I heard Craig telling me not to do that, I always did that. You just got to reframe how you open into the conversation, the show framing, right? Whoever's the strongest frame is going to be the authority and run the meeting. When you got a strong personality and he comes in, You've got to win over that person or they're not going to listen to you, right? Talk about the crocodile part of the brain. Once your brain hears something that it thinks it heard before, it automatically shuts down and stops utilizing its power, right?
I
It's
don't need to
trying
think
to
about it.
serve.
The brain automatically is wired to create a shortcut based on your past experience.
Yeah,
So the
it's already
croc brain, right? The croc brain's the breast, right? So the croc brain comes from ancient history, right? So when, caveman, hunter, right? And so caveman back in the day, croc brain says, do I kill it? Do I eat it? Or do I screw it? And it was that simple. And that's an interesting way to have to frame.
Yeah, it's you got to show your authority. It's like, what was the one line? He's like, what do you do to those big executives?
Oh, he
When
had
they
so
show
many
up late?
great stories
You're
about his.
here for the. Hey, you're here for the. Thanks for showing up to the 10:04 meeting.
Oh, you're here for the 10:04 meeting? Oh, yeah. Oh, instant, I apologize. And so now you have the power and, they don't.
Yeah, he talks about status. You have to be here, from a status level. I mean, a position of power. It's like even us at the event. We're on stage. You're in the audience. Even if you knew more than us, we still have the status, right? And you want to put yourself in a position of status on that call out the gate and let them know who's boss. And look, sometimes you got to be a dick a little bit, because if not, you're what? What do you always say, Craig? A supplicant.
You're a supplicant. If you don't even have to frame it that way, John, I would just say at a minimum, you have to speak to them as a peer, not an insurance broker. That's almost never a peer, especially as that's never a peer if they don't know you. Okay. So that's your minimum expectation, is you got to be able to speak to them as a peer and hopefully create superior positioning.
I think we're giving them too much. We shouldn't be giving them too much.
That was really good.
That's
Joe Manicotti, man. I love Joe Manicotti. We're going to go nameless there because they weren't there. So it's tough. How to manage
I don't know, a $16 million book.
Would
that be useful?
Yeah. So lots of good stuff. I loved his story on alignment and how he uses that to introduce conversations. I thought that was great.
How to compete against big box, what they do, how they pitch.
Yeah.
$3,000 is not worth that, Craig. It's too expensive. Can't afford it.
Exactly. So I'm glad you weren't there if you didn't. Got to decide what business you want to be in, right? He kind of talked about the diminishing utility of having 80 employees versus 50. There's just so much more stuff to do. And do you make more money? Really? You got to figure out who you are.
You want to be lean and mean, less stress, less employees, make a lot of money relative to what you're doing. Or, I know a guy that makes a little bit more money than me, and he's got 15 times more employees than me. And I'm thinking, well, geez, you're at, how much in EBITDA? And you have that many employees? Don't want to go there, or figure out a way to automate, delegate, and outsource it, because I'm not dealing with that. So decide what your life wants to be. Decide what you want to be. I enjoy working from anywhere now. I enjoy traveling. When I was just doing retail just in New Jersey, it was difficult to leave Jersey. But now with Zoom and COVID, it's created a new environment, new world. And, I call ourselves a virtual agency now, and I can function wherever. So decide the life that you're going to live and take advantage of the opportunity. I've had already companies sent out and say, we've gone 100% virtual. We're now a virtual agency. We're tech, blah, 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 blah. Take advantage of it. You can have a different life now. You don't have to be in that expensive state. I'm going back in 2-3 weeks here to do a couple bigger clients, and then I'm probably going to go somewhere else. I don't know. So really interesting to hear his side of managing that book.
Yeah, it was great inside baseball there, because, guys, you don't get exposure to that, but I do. And so I'm able to lean on my relationships to say, hey, you mind sharing with the group? It's really cool. So our next speaker was a chief strategy officer of a little association that members spend $27 billion on healthcare in the United States. And so he had some really insightful comments, and he was pretty fun.
Lewis? Who's Lee Lewis?
He says, well, they made me an offer that my wife couldn't refuse. Oh, that was a great line.
What did he say?
He said they made me an offer that my wife couldn't refuse.
Yeah, Lee's there. I know who Lee is, and I know, Craig's relationship with him. He's sitting at the table and at lunch. Shout out to Lee Lewis if he's watching. We're gonna have it on a podcast. It's like, I was like, Lee, tell him where you're on. Part of this organization of employers. I'm like, what the? You're the chief strategy officer of Health Transformation Alliance, the largest association in the country. What is it, $50 billion in medical spend? I don't even remember the ridiculous numbers. Just make them up. They're that big. And so then he gets up and he just blows everybody's mind on. I mean, those marketing ideas were just brilliant. His mentor, right? Sharp guy, smart guy, had a mentor, found the right people, was getting into groups in Dallas that, had Aon or whoever for 10 plus years. And everybody's agency said, no, you can't get this untouchable group. You'll never get a meeting there. Impossible to get in there. Getting into meetings, pulling the Trojan horse out on their ideas and then flipping it and saying, here's your statement of work. And I mean,
yeah, started as a total virgin, right? Came into the business with one of the national houses, had no clients whatsoever, no staff, and only marketed to the Fortune 2000, and crushed it. By the end of his fourth year, he was number 2 in the globe for the company. So super talented. He had a couple of interesting points about being a giver versus a taker, which really, of course, spoke to me. I didn't know he was going to do that. My philosophy on business for years, because I read it from one of my mentors, was make deposits before you ask for withdrawals. And, some brokers out there, all they ever do is take, they never give. And Lee really spoke to that really well about how when you do that, it's going to come around, because you can't, that's not how life works. It works really well when you give.
The takers and the givers and takers. What was the one in the middle? I can't remember. There are 3. And just talks about how the takers take and the givers give, and what it gets to in time. And obviously this is what the show's about. Shout out to Paul Pruitt, Sharks, our sponsor, Sharks, Intrust, ECU, TPAC. Who else am I missing? Southern Scripts. Thank you, all you guys, because guys, listen.
More health.
Catalyze Health. Oh, Virtue Health. What about that? We're always last, right?
Oh,
yeah. They helped contribute to have you guys come to the event, because listen, that fucking event was expensive. We make zero money. We're giving here, right? And so we're giving to eventually get a withdrawal later. That's how we run our events. And you talked about that. What you guys have to understand is everybody comes here with your hand out, right? I hate to say it, some of the brokers listen, they take, they're listening to the podcast right now, don't reciprocate. Okay, that's fine. But when you're trying to do this now with employers, what he's saying is he went around and had to figure out, how do I just give to everybody in my organization, everybody around me, everything. And so I can eventually be the person. What was the line he was using? Being the person of
that people will gossip nicely about.
Yeah, gossip nicely about me. I forget exactly the term he used. It was great. And
the 3 words were givers, takers, and matchers.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I was there. They were paying me a lot of money. I had to get shit done. I had to close business. And so the guy's brilliant. He got creative. I mean, he wrote cases with, he got into 4 or 5 Fortune 100 companies. He had half the Fortune 100 companies that Gallagher had in their whole company. His mentor, I'm not going to give you that strategy idea because it was just brilliant and you got to pay for that. Conference hacking, another beautiful strategy. Not going to give you the specifics of it. Absolutely brilliant idea. John Clay tried to do it after, and but yeah, I mean, what good stuff he had. I was blown away. I got to take some notes in the back, even running the show, because he was good. It just kept getting better and better and better. So we're obviously really excited about that. What else, Craig? What'd I miss?
Who's that kid? Who's that kid that was on the stage, huh?
Who's that? Oh, Mark Lack Jr.? Yeah, Mark Lack filled in. We lose 2 speakers last minute. We get Oren Klaff. We get Mark Lack. Those that don't know him, he comes on 24-hour notice. We don't give him any topic. He's there. Craig gives him a topic.
He's like, Dad, what do you want me to talk about? I'm like, well, out of the 100 things you could talk about for 4 hours, which one do you think? I said, here's what our audience is comprised of. He goes, oh, I got it. Let me do the price of ignorance. Oh my God, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, and just comes out, blows it out, gives marketing ideas and strategies that, again, if people take advantage of them, they work, but they're long-term play, they're marketing, their money. Like we always say, this is the funnel. You're listening to the top of our funnel. Ray Cobra says, I took 50 pages of notes and I don't take notes. Shout out to Ray Cobra, always coming to the events. Good to see an East Coaster.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Ray
guys, if
picking a
you're
good bottle of
going
wine
to,
for dinner. Nice job.
what's that?
I said shout out to Ray for picking a good bottle of wine for dinner. That was
There
good.
you go. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you're going to do it, look, Ray Cobra stepped in and said, I'm gonna solicit Syra, and he invested. I think he told me he invested 6 figures and lots of time. That's just the money. Then the time and effort to continuously do it and do it and do it. He's all in. He knows it's going to take time. I think they got maybe 1 or 2 over the board recently, and it's going to take time. And so those ideas we gave you disclosure on the fact of like, don't do these things unless you're 100% in and willing to spend the money. Gary Bender couldn't make it, talking about the CFO groups and stuff like that, and some of the ideas we were going to come up with for the groups. But again, time, money, and investment. And if you're doing benefits and you're trying to recruit or you're trying to talk to employers, word of advice is, nobody wants to listen to a podcast on insurance. Your prospects don't want to hear from insurance brokers or vendors or people on. That's not what they want to hear about. They want to hear from their peers talking about those people that they're using. And so if you want to do the Trojan horse, you've got to use the leader doing it. We have the fortunate advantage, the competitive advantage of being advisors, being peers. That's why you guys listen to us, because they're real life experiences. But if you're going to create something, your prospect is a CFO. Well, guess what? He doesn't want to listen to John Sbrocco and Craig Lack because maybe they're known in the industry and hear them talk about insurance. They don't give a shit. They want to hear, what does the top CFOs in my industry do? I want to be like the other people in my industry that are better than me. So you've got to go out and go, okay, great. They're a CFO in the manufacturing industry. Who's the top CFOs in the country? Who's the top in manufacturing? Who can deliver value to my clients or my key targets, right? And then what am I going to do? I'm going to facilitate. Maybe I shouldn't give them the ideas, right, Craig? What do you think?
No. Hey,
So that's enough to hear.
This is just
but
a tease. This is just a tease.
Yeah, it's a little
right?
tease, but yeah, just a little insight.
It's not
Nobody
what
gives
you
a shit
know.
about healthcare, and nobody wants to hear vendors, and
Yeah.
I mean, no.
Yeah, that's it. And who was that tall dork that was talking?
Who's that? You?
Yeah, I think that was me.
You covered a little bit about, where was it? It was up here.
What was that little that $78 million agency EB guy said, hey, the 4 young bucks that I brought with me, I just told them that presentation is exactly what they should do. And so I would summarize the whole thing, because you know me, I'm good at making complex things simple. So very simply, if you want your talk, your introduction, your presentation to a prospect to sound as different as you claim to be, then that was a pretty good one. That was really it. You claim to be, oh, we're different. Okay. You got to have a message that sounds different, and that can be provocative, create tension, build intrigue before you ever get to the reveal. And that's exactly what I did, even unconsciously, right? From being with Oren. I didn't really realize, but I could have explained that whole thing using Oren's language if I wanted to.
Sometimes Craig gets on a call and I'm sitting there waiting for the punchline to tell him what the program is, and it doesn't even tell him, and sets up the second meeting, doesn't even tell him what the program is. But he's set it up with so much intrigue that they want the second meeting without a reveal, which is a lot of practice. Somebody says here, you got to put your name next to it so I can see. Now who you know, but who knows you? So, right, he said, everybody's been told, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, they forgot the key component is who knows you. Somebody in the audience said they had a great product, but nobody knows about it. Exactly. How did I fill up the room during COVID? I mean, that was a lot of work, but that's because we get in front of a lot of people. A lot of people know us because we've been putting out consistent content, helping people for 3+ years.
You know how many people have come up to us over the last couple of years going, or they send us a random email. That's usually what it is, isn't it, John? You go, I just want you guys to know, I've listened to your podcast. I think it's really good. I think it's great. And I did this. I tried that. I said this. It worked. I made money. Thank you so much. And that's nice to hear, right? Because we're doing this on the come. We make deposits knowing that for the kind of people that we know and like and want to do business with, they will reciprocate. For those who don't, eventually we'll tell you you're dead to us. Okay. all you've done is take, lose my number. I have no problem telling you that because, a rational, fair, reasonable person says, I've got to find a reason to do business with this guy, these guys. I don't put all my business with one, this, one, that, we sprinkle it around and, over time, if we haven't earned the right, then that's okay. Do your thing, but go away.
Fetch a rock.
Yeah. Go get me a green rock.
And then Paul Seeger closed out with some of the things he's doing, his scripts, his emails, where he gets the data, how he vets the data, how he rips through and makes the data better, how many calls it takes, what they're tracking, all the sequences, how many emails, it's 7 or 12 or something like that. And, look, if you're prospecting, winter's coming. Winter's here for us already. It's busy as shit. Guys, people are going to be making changes. Go out there, get after it. You guys are all listening, not just for entertainment, but to win business. If you're winning business, if you get anything, we want to hear the stories. We'd like to hear the stories. Some people came up to me and said, hey, just want to tell you this, and this. Tell me as soon as it happens. We want to hear it. We need stuff to talk about. Yeah. Who's it? Ray Colbert. Jordan Belfort sells out stadiums. Anyone who think they didn't get their money's worth is missing. Yeah. Ray Colbert's like 2 feet from Jordan Belfort yelling in his face.
Right.
F that.
Yeah.
The doctor's sticking.
There's nobody there.
He's like, people want to deal with the expert.
Got value.
He's like, people want to deal with the expert. You're a guy. You let a man stick a finger up your butt because he's got the plaque on the wall, right? He does it because he's got the plaque on the wall. But if I go in a room and they say, turn around, I'm sticking a finger up your butt. Whoa, where's your license? Show me your license. That's the level of expertise that people give when you're an expert, right? That's a level of authority or whatever you want to call it, that they literally let you stick their finger up your butt because they have a plaque on the wall. And so what he's trying to get across is that you need to have that with your prospect. Show them you're the expert, because that was good. I think I got that clip on video. I know we got it somewhere because we got live stream, we got Kyle, we got this, we got that. If you guys have any pictures, video clips, anything, send them to me. We want to see them. We'd like to utilize them. If you don't want them shared, let us know, but we still would like to see them. That being said, closing out, great event. Go after it in the fourth quarter. What does it say? Buyer and heat, buyer and control, looky-loo, mistake. Yeah, that was the four different types of buyers. Go out, get after it. Final words, Craig.
Yeah. Hey, it's here. It's going to be upon you. Your clients are going to be looking around. And remember, everybody from the PNC guy, all the EB people going after your cases, to the banker, the baker, the candlestick maker, the payroll company, they're all coming after your groups. So be prepared.
I'm ready to see the 1-1s. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, enjoyed the call. See you next week. Will we see you next week? I think we will. See you next week. Same place, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Heads up advisor. See you soon, guys. Later.
Later.